Welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. My name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher, and thank you for tuning in tonight. So, if you're new here, thank you for watching. I'm here every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you watch me or catch me on the replay on YouTube, thank you for being a part of my community. And what I do here on Teaching Tip Tuesday, if you're saying for the first time, what are you doing? What I do is I teach math teachers of struggling learners how to effectively first manage their classrooms and then to increase student achievement. And I do that through math intervention, which is response to intervention. A lot of people know me for that. And also through math instructional strategies, project-based learning, tech integration, and just good old-fashioned classroom management. Not that classroom management with the frilly things is the one that we connect with students and build relationships, because we know in this day and age relationships matter, and the students need to know that they can connect with you before they actually learn from you. So that's what I do here on Teaching Tip Tuesday. And if you're like, oh, I'm so glad I found her and I cannot make it every Tuesday, no worries. You can hop on over to my YouTube channel, The Ignited Teacher, and subscribe to my channel. I broadcast to all three platforms: Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously. So all of my Teaching Tip Tuesday videos are housed on YouTube, but you have to subscribe and hit that bell notification to know when I go live. I also post other videos over there, probably every other week, or things that I know have to be addressed, like this math intervention and test prep. So thank you for tuning in again, and hop on over to YouTube and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. Now, tonight's topic is, I felt some kind of way about the test prep, and I wasn't sure if I was going to address the test prep. And you're probably saying, well, that's how I felt too, because it feels like a dirty word in this climate that we're in now. And it's so unfortunate that we're being forced to actually test prep students in the middle of a pandemic. And I grappled with this whole idea of doing this, or even hosting the webinar that I have to help teachers implement math intervention during their test prep to get better results and visible gains. So I just said, you know what? This is where we are, and we have to help our students get through this the best way we know how. So I decided to go ahead and roll my sleeves up and address the elephant in the room, which is the math intervention and this test prep. Now, you're probably saying, well, how are we going to test prep kids when we're in the middle of a pandemic? And I like you, if you're still virtual, a lot of my students are virtual. I think I may have not even 10 kids. I'm not even sure now. But most of my kids are still virtual, and that's just what it is. And I believe that it is their parents' right to choose that mode for them. So I do prep my kids the best way I can. I, like you, are up against my students are up against Algebra 1 EOC, and I'm having to close gaps. And so far, I think I've been somewhat successful. I wish that I could do better, but there are certain things that we cannot overcome. And I'm not going to perpetuate that perfect Patty teacher syndrome that a lot of people put on us, because we're not perfect, we're human. and I work to the best of my ability within the things that I can control. I cannot control if my students do not show up. I can't control that. So when they do show up, I give them the best education that I can with that is within me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So this math intervention and test prep idea, and you're probably saying, well, I do math intervention, but math intervention is different when you're test prepping your students. And I'm going to keep saying that dirty word, test prep, and it creeps me out to say it, to be honest with you, but I got to say it. So when you're test prepping, now I have been doing this, I've been in a testing grade level. Oh, Lord. I started in like 2004 and it's 2021. So it's been a long time since I've been in a non testing grade level. Well, test prepping and math intervention is to actually hone in on skills that your students do not have yet. So we're going to say yet. They don't have it yet. And with this virtual environment, it's a lot different. So, for example, today, one of my students, she's an ELL student. And the way that our classes are structured, like I told you, most of my kids are still virtual. So I use Explain Everything. And if you want to learn about Explain Everything, it's a whiteboard. You can check my YouTube channel. I have several videos on teaching using Explain Everything. It's a wonderful platform. And no, I'm not being paid to say that, but it is. It is a wonderful platform for teaching mathematics. My students at home, they can collaborate. They can take over the whiteboard and solve problems. And that's what we did today. So she struggles with word problems naturally. English is her second language. So while the kids were working on a Mobymax assignment, because at the last 20 minutes is um, our independent time. Well, they call it asynchronous time. So I pulled her into this channel in Teams where it's set up for small group. And I went over the word problem with her. Mobymax has a function where you can take problems and pull them out and work on them. So I just basically took a screenshot of the problem and walked her through it and actually recorded the session. So if she needs to refer back to it, she could. So it stays in that chat and in the channel, but I'm going to send her a link to the video so that she can have it for her reference. And that's different from what I'm normally used to doing because she's virtual and has been for the duration of the school year. And that's a frame of reference for her because I'm not there. So those are some things that I found that have worked with students. Now she's in ninth grade and it'll work with any students that you have. Recording those small group sessions so that the students can have something to refer back to. And it has been helpful in that way. So we have that channel and then we have the main channel and then we have the other channel. Now, here's the thing. That intervention process, it those channels, I have my iPad Pro, which I have my other class, and then I have my classroom computer. So I can actually see what the other children are doing while I'm in the other channel with that student. So that's one way that you can help your students during intervention time. Now, for the littles, it may look different. And this is the simulation of what I did in person. Because when I was in person and I was test prepping my students, I would pull, it was the same process, pull those kids who were struggling with certain TEKS because I'm in Texas and let the rest of the class go on. It's not anything different. Now, with the virtual, it does, I think it has a more of an advantage for me because I'm cognizant of how are my students going to recall this. And Teams has the function where you can actually record the session and have it there for them. So that's a way to help your students to be a little bit more self sufficient because they're going to be taking this test on their own. So if they're still virtual, they have to be able to pull that information. And as you are presenting and closing gaps and pulling those kids for small group, working on those student expectations or TEKs that they are struggling with, recording them and creating a library is helpful for them because you may want, as it gets closer to testing, where you give them the video of your small group session and have them work problems and not ask you, because what you're going to have to go through is that weaning process for the students. They have to be weaned, whether it's virtual or in person. Now, that leads me to Plickers. I have started using Plickers, and I use Plickers even in person. But in person, they had the cards. But I'm going to tell you, I am very impressed with Plickers. And no, I'm not being paid to say this. But Plickers has where you can snip any state assessment from any, I guess, clip any state assessment question and upload it to Plickers. And they have made it to where all of the kids have their own link and the link stays the same. It never changes. So I introduced the e version of Plickers, not Clickers, Plickers, Plickers to my students. And that link, they know to go to that link. And what Plickers does, you can add a timer. You can also add, well, they've added to where you can start accepting answers and then you can stop accepting answers. So the kids know that when it's time to stop, they have no control over that. So either they answer or they don't. And that's where you capture that formative assessment data. So, for example, I've been working on solving equations, but students have to understand order of operations. So today I went to the 6th grade star release test and I snipped one of their questions about order of operation. Now, the students are under the assumption that they can just use a calculator, but order of operation is not about computation. It's about knowing the order in which you can solve problems or expressions, equations, or inequalities. That's what we've been working on. Well, it gave me a snapshot because that's a prerequisite skill of who's still struggling with that. Some of my classes were strong in it, some were not. So it let me know the kids that I need to continue to work with. And that's something that I did in person as well. Now I can do it virtually and still continue those good practices that I know work. So, math intervention doesn't have to stop. We're merging the two with the test prep. Now, it's going to look different and it feels different. And it may feel like you're not getting anywhere, but you really are. One of the things that I say about this pandemic, it's a curse and a blessing because it's forcing us outside of our comfort zone. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, my test prep is 100 proof. And I'm going to tell you, when I say 100 proof, I could take it to any campus. And I've been doing turnaround school work for the last, well, it's going on 5 years now. And I have consistently moved children who were at the bottom with this process. And it's a refining, constantly refining. And it works. It does. So When I look at test prep with virtual learning and my math intervention to that refining process and making my group smaller, because yeah, I'm a math interventionist, but I don't have 3 kids. Some of my classes have 16 children in it, but not all of them need the same support. Some of my kids are ELL kids. Some of my students are students that are at the top of tier 2, where they don't need a whole bunch of support. And then I got some at the bottom of tier 2 and some that are just tier 3 students. So the support is totally different, even within the context of math intervention or response to intervention. So it's not going to be perfect, but think of it this way: it gives you an opportunity to merge those two and to bring that math intervention piece, that refining piece, to close those gaps. And don't start over. Do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. A lot of teachers tend to say, oh, I have to reteach this. Reteach means that I'm supposed to do something differently. Yes, you're going to take that strategy that you vetted at the beginning and you're going to refine it and change it to where it works while you're in small group. For example, I teach my students how to divide with a T-chart. Now, with my tier 1 students, all I have to do is teach them. Put the numbers on the side, go through top and bottom, they're done. But when I go to small group, I take that same strategy, break it down into smaller chunks. Is it the same strategy? Absolutely. Does it look differently? Of course, because those children need a different type of support where it's smaller. And then I might have to take it back a little further and then move them forward. You can still do this in virtual learning, but it has to be strategic. It's a strategic way, and you have to have the tools in place to get it done. Now, I know that there's going to take a certain type of perseverance. And I'm going to speak to what we can deal with. I've been teaching 21 years. This is my 21st year in education. And from a veteran teacher standpoint, we don't have to solve every problem. We're not going to solve every problem. You give 100%. And even with getting your students ready, do not push yourself over the line. We're already dealing with the hybrid situation, and I'm telling you, our internet situation, the internet is spotty. Like, it was running slow today. I had to put my iPad on my hotspot because the district's Wi-Fi it's not that great. So we have things that come up on a regular with this virtual, but just give yourself some grace and do what you can and leave the rest to whatever's going to happen, because all you at the end of the day, you're still human, and that you're not going to solve all the problems. But I wanted to come on and give you all some tips, some things that I've been trying in my classroom that I've seen work. The Plickers, you might want to give that a try if you're looking for a way to really get some good data on your kids that's not skewed, that you're in control of. It really, really works for them. So what I want to do is share my screen. Let me get it up. So I'm hosting a webinar on the 13th. I don't know why that I had a brain freeze. On the 13th, and it's called Math Intervention and Test Prep, using strategic data-driven instruction to make visible gains. At the end of every school year, I hear teachers saying, well, I did this, and last year was the worst. Not last year, year before, because we were in the pandemic, and a lot of teachers were saying, well, I did the room transformation. Well, room transformations are not going to give you the results that you need. You have to be strategic and data driven in your pursuit to move students. And everything is not going to always be fun. Can it be fun? Yes. but it's not going to always be fun because you have to be laser focused. What's fun for kids, and a lot of people don't really understand, is like sometimes it's just good old fashioned conversation, talking about what you watched on TV. Those personal connections, they are good for students. And because I know when I had a stench in first grade, and they always wanted to come tell me about cartoons, but those connections, they are important. So this is going to be on the 13th at 3 p.m. It's a Saturday, and I want it to invite you to be a part of this webinar. If it's something that you're interested in, you can go to theignitedteacher.com, and in the middle of the page there says free webinar, and you can click on it. Let me go to that page so you can see what I'm talking about. See, even my internet. So when it says free live workshop, if you click on it, it'll be there. And I have some other things that you could look around if you're interested. So this is at theignitedteacher.com. So hopefully these strategies were helpful to you. If you have any questions about what I'm doing virtually and how to get these things up and running, leave a comment in the comment section. I respond to all of my comments. If you have questions about just chunking different strategies and how to get started, leave a comment on the YouTube channel. I will definitely respond to that. I want us to be successful. We're all in this together, and it's a difficult time. And like I said, the whole math test prep thing was really, it made me feel like I was saying something dirty, literally. But we have to address it because they're not, like I tell people, they're not going to cancel standardized tests in the state of Texas. It's not going to happen. We test, what is it, February already? So the test is going to happen in a month. And that's just the reality of it. And I guess I've wrapped my mind around it and just said, you know what, I'm going to do the best that I can. If you're interested in some blog posts, you can hop on over to my website where I house my blog posts at fuelgreatminds.com. I talk about and write about those 5 different categories: math intervention, math strategies, response to intervention, which goes to math and intervention. I do classroom management, tech integration. So they're broken down into those 5 categories, which is my framework for getting kids to move, that I found has been successful over the years. So I hope that you enjoyed this Teaching Tip Tuesday. If this is your first time here, definitely check me out next week. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hop on over there and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I go live or upload other video content. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all next week for another episode of Teaching Tip Tuesday.